Before that, it's not gonna kill the book, maybe it goes, so how long?
All the meetings you work. We have an invitation. If not, we're going to pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have any changes to the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll move on to public comments. This is a time where citizens are encouraged to speak publicly. We request that you come to the podium, state your name and address, speak respectfully, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on to proclamations. Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Right, that would be me. And I'm here from DVAC. We probably have a lot of my stuff around here, but I'll go ahead and pass out some more information. So January brings about stalking awareness and human trafficking awareness. Another one for you guys. And during January, also while I'm passing these out, stalking awareness is also recognized nationally, and January 18th is Sparkle Day, and it's recognized nationally by the National Organization of Crime and Congress, and it lands on a Sunday this year, and then we got Martin Luther King Day, so we're going to celebrate it on the 20th, so wear your sparkle that day. It was about a young woman, Peggy Kinkle, that was stalked, and she did everything right. She traveled to a different state after her separation, and she actually got engaged to another person, and she followed all the rules and turned in everything, and was ultimately killed by her intimate partner. And she even was on the police to 911 when she was being killed. So we recognize her during this month, and I will read that proclamation since I'm talking about it first. Any questions about DVAC? One of the many nonprofits we have. Okay, Stalking Awareness Month, January 2026. Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, known as DVAC. Whereas stalking is a serious and often crime that affects 13.5 million people in the United States each year. And whereas stalking is commonly perpetrated by someone the victim knows, with 42% of victims stalked by an acquaintance and 40% by current or former intimate partners. And whereas stalking behaviors frequently involve both digital and physical methods, with 80% of victims stalked using technology and 67% stalked in person. And whereas in 2024, the Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, DVAC, served 40 stalking victims, including survivors from Cloud, Dickinson, Saline, McPherson counties, as well as out-of-state clients. And whereas these victims resided in regions including Concordia, Harrington, Abilene, Salina, New Cambridge, and Moundridge, illustrating that stalking impacts rural and urban communities. And whereas DVAC remains dedicated to providing safety planning, advocacy, and trauma-informed services while working with community partners to raise awareness and prevent stalking in all of its forms. And now therefore, Cloud County and the city of Concordia hereby recognize January 2026 as Stalking Awareness Month and encourage all residents to learn the signs of stalking and support survivors and work together to create a safer community. And now therefore, the Cloud County Board of Commissioners and the city of Concordia do hereby proclaim, I hope, January 2026 as Stalking Awareness Month.
Thank you.
And I will give that one to you guys to sign. And you guys can all sign it if you'd like. And January also brings about Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And I will read that proclamation for January 2026 for the Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, known as DVAC. Whereas human trafficking is pervasive and devastating crime that affects individuals, families, and communities across the United States. And whereas the most recently completed year of 2024, an estimated 17,000 potential victims of human trafficking were identified nationwide, representing only a fraction of those who suffer in silence. And whereas human trafficking takes place, with employers accounting for 43% of traffickers, family members representing 26%, and intimate partners representing 22%, demonstrating the complex relationships and power dynamics often trap victims in cycles of exploitation. And whereas the Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas, DVAC, provided direct services to 6 human trafficking survivors in 2024, and whereas DVAC remains committed to offering crisis intervention, advocacy, safety planning, housing support, and trauma-informed services to survivors of human trafficking, while also partnering with local, state, national organizations to raise awareness and strengthen community responses. And whereas all community members play a vital role in preventing trafficking, supporting survivors, and creating a safer environment where exploitation is not tolerated. And now therefore, Cloud County and the city of Concordia hereby recognize January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month, encourage residents, service providers, and community partners to increase awareness, support survivors, and join DVAC in taking action to end human trafficking in all of its forms. And now therefore, the Cloud County Commissioners and the city of Concordia do hereby claim January 2026 as Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Is that one?
Are those different than?
Thank you for
Oh, you got that one?
Yeah, they're all.
All right.
for all DVAC does for the community.
And I suppose one of these is for a year off, that's right. Yeah.
Julie, is there anything specific or like what is the most needed items right now at for the domestic violence?
Well, it was dishes, but Dollar Tree was very generous and gave us their bargains, so we got a lot of dishes now. So right now it's like hygiene items and diapers and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
But any gently used clothing, we take those as donations as well.
For like women and children
And men, we
And
serve men as well.
and that as well. Okay.
Gee, thanks.
I write so sloppy, I just.
But I could. we'll move on to action items, or no, I'm sorry, public hearing about neighborhood revitalization. I think,
And open the public hearing.
we'll open the public hearing, so.
And introduce it and share what we're gonna do.
Okay, sure. So at the last commission meeting, I think we went over the numbers and kind of what the substantial changes were from the current plan, which expired the end of December. Then the proposed new plan, which takes effect in February and will run for 3 years. So the objective is, as required by state statute, there has to be a public hearing. That's why we're here tonight. Once the public hearing convenes and concludes, then the commission can take action and adopt the ordinance, which would then give the commission the authority to enter into the interlocal agreement. That interlocal agreement is the bounding document for all the signatory parties that is administered through Cloud County to implement and administer the tax abatement program.
Any questions about it from anyone? If not, the public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to action agenda. Ordinance 2026-3242. Neighborhood revitalization plan.
I move to approve ordinance 2026-3242.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2026-3242. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We'll move on to neighborhood revitalization plan interlocal agreement. And this is saying we agree to or will participate in the neighborhood revitalization plan.
I move to adopt the neighborhood revitalization plan interlocal agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the document for the mayor pro tem.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the neighborhood revitalization plan interlocal agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the document. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Move on to minutes of the December 17th, 2025 meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of the December 17th, 2025 meeting.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes of December 17th, 2025. Any discussion, question? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Move on to appropriation ordinance number 24.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 24.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve appropriation ordinance number 24. Any questions?
I saw we purchased a rower, like a rowing machine. Is that for the fire EMS, I assume?
Yes, it is. It's for our weight room. We sold a treadmill on Purple Wave earlier, so a little bit that we got from that, we were able to put towards it. About half the cost of a brand new one. And we bought it from an individual here in town, off of Facebook actually.
You guys use that weight room pretty regularly? Do you have good participation with that?
I mean, I would like it to be better, but yes, it is used daily.
Any other discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Moving on to ordinance 2026-3243. Rezoning of lots 1 and 2, lot C of St. Joseph subdivision.
This is that St. Joe subdivision where we plan to build, we'd like to develop for attached single family dwellings. So it'd be 4 living units there eventually. We went through the public hearing quite some time ago. And for some reason, this one didn't make it here for a while. So we got it finally, so I'll stand for any questions on it.
Remind us, are they duplexes or?
Well, you can't call them duplexes unless they're gonna be owned by one person. If it doesn't become a townhouse until there's 3 of them. So what the terminology is in our zoning, and it's actually quite common, although I've never run across it very often, it's called an attached single family dwelling, and that's 2 single family dwellings attached together. And they have a 1-hour firewall on each side of that property line, because you got a property line going through a building. So it depends, and just like with the 11th Street duplexes that they're planning, how they want to market those. And so we're asking them to go ahead and just put the 2 1-hour walls in there, and then they can market them however they want. That's what we'll do probably up here. It's a safer way, but there's also some stuff going on at this fire marshal level about definitions of apartments and duplexes and triplexes and what needs sprinklers and what doesn't, and what kind of firewalls you gotta put in, so. But that's what. If they say they're building duplexes, then they need to be owned, the whole building's owned by one person and the 2 units are rented out. Either one's lived in and one's rented out, or they're both rented out. If they're separately owned, then you got a property line going through a building, and now it becomes 2 separate properties. And then you have 2 houses that are close together that you don't control, that one doesn't control the other. But when they're a duplex, one person controls both sides, whether it's lived in or not by that person. It's all in chapter 2 of the zoning regulations.
So if we zone it.
It can be either way. It can be either one. It can be either one.
That's,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it allows for it there. It still falls under the overall definition of a 2-family dwelling.
Okay.
2 single family dwellings in one building. Now, whether it's owned by one person or owned by 2 people is where the difference is.
But as far as zoning, it doesn't matter. Then once we do it. Okay.
I move to approve ordinance 2026-3243.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2026-3243. Any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Move on to zoning appeals appointments.
Yeah, 3 appointments here for the board zone. Jordan Budrose is finishing up a term that was abandoned by Darren Hill, and he took his place. So that is kind of why this one's just a short one. But Tammy Britt, and I don't know how I missed Mark Pauls or how he usually reminds me, but he's been on forever, longer than I've been working for the city. So we need to basically reappoint all 3 of these to the board of zoning appeals. Tammy Britt, Jordan Butter, and Mark Paul.
I move to reappoint Tammy Britt, Jordan Budrow, and Mark Paul to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions?
How, I guess just as a group, how is the Board of Zoning Appeals going? Is that?
Well,
I mean,
they meet
cumulative.
rarely. They're a rare situation. If somebody wants a variance or an exception to the rule, they have to appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeal. And that's over my decision or a planning commission decision, they can ask for a variance. Or in some cases, a variance may be required for part of the development. A setback variance on a lot or something like that. If they're laying out lots and you got one that's pretty tight, you can ask for a variance on a setback or something. That's all done through the Board of Zoning Appeals. I think I went back and looked, and that was the least amount I met, but I think in 1 year, the most activity I had on the Board of Zoning Appeals was maybe 4 meetings. Because they're so rare, but the Board of Zoning Appeal decision is final, and matter of fact, if you wanna appeal their decision as an individual or an entity, you have to go through the district court. And that includes the city commission. So if the Board of Zoning Appeals makes a decision on a variance or an exception to a rule that the city commission doesn't like, the city commission can file an appeal through the district court against the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Well, that costs money though, right? Okay, here's my next question. She might not like, but I mean, we're reappointing 3 people and you're getting ready to retire. Are you gonna be on, I mean, right now you are in charge of it, correct? But your application wasn't one of these 3.
Just help them.
Right, but your application wasn't one of these 3. There's no contesting any of these positions by you, Bruno?
Not that I'm, no,
No?
I mean.
I'm advocating because I feel like it'd be a great fit for that particular board. So maybe you'll consider it in the future.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have to go through my wife.
It's only 4 meetings.
Maybe, you never know, with all the development coming, it kind of makes me wonder something, because
There might be an uptick.
there might be some. I think on that duplex development, there might be a couple of lots that need a variance. But that can be done through the plating process. You can just approve the plat with that setback for those 2 lots, so they wouldn't have, I think we can do it that way. So,
Okay, we have a motion before us to reappoint Tammy Britt, Jordan Bedrow, and Mark Paul to the Board of Zoning Appeals. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those, motion carried. Move on to the ambulance service contracts.
Mayor and Commissioners, so the contract you have before you, it's the exact same one that we use for all the other townships and cities in our service area. We're just adding 2 of them, Meredith and Oakland Township. In my letter there, I kind of went through how we came about to this decision, how we're gonna kind of operate with those 2 townships. Really, we were splitting it up about the best way we could really come up with. Do you have any questions about it? The map had quite a bit of information on it. If you had any questions there. If there is none, on the map. Any questions about how we're gonna operate with those 2 townships being that far out? Hoping to maintain at least a few, first responders in that area. It really helps cut down that response time. If somebody, arriving on scene to help in any way they can. Even if we got to the point where there was none, we would just deal with it like we do in the Glasgow area. We currently don't have anybody down there, haven't had for a number of years.
Do you train the first responders then, like for those townships that we covered?
Yes, the individuals down there are already certified. If they were to find any new ones that wanted to be trained, yes, I'm actually getting ready to have an EMT class starting next month. That if they have any number of people, I put them in the class and put them through it.
That makes sense. Hopefully there's some participation or, you know, at least a couple in every place. It's pretty important.
Make a motion to authorize the city manager to sign contracts with Meredith and Oakland Townships for ambulance services.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the city manager to sign contracts with Meredith and Oakland Township for ambulance service. Any more discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Move on to 429 West 8.
Mayor and Commissioners, this is lien documents related to our first infill home, related to our moderate income housing project that's going up. We contracted with a different contractor, Omen Custom Construction, for this, and they are working with Central National Bank for their construction loan. And Central National Bank is requiring us to sign that onto the lien documents because City of Concordia, doing business as Concordia Land Bank, owns the land, although the builder is responsible to build the home and then sell the home. And so what it means is, and Jack Woodian's here with the Central National Bank, so correct me if I'm wrong here, but if for some reason there was a default on the construction loan, Central National Bank needs the ability to package the house and the land together to be able to work through that loan. We don't anticipate that being a problem. We have good faith in the contractor to be able to finish the project and to sell the home. They did just get started here a couple of weeks ago, so we're very excited to see that home starting up. We know that there's still demand out there for homes. We also did get good news last week from the state of Kansas. We received misinformation earlier, but we got the correct information now that we can use that higher state average for the moderate income housing income qualification, which is very, very good. So that takes us up to a family of 4, I believe, at 146,000 a year gross income for a family of 4, which is great because Cloud County's was limited to 124,000 a year, down from 129 last year. So this is excellent news for potential home buyers. Anyway, back to the lien documents. There's two documents that'll need to be signed. One of them was there in your packet. The other one I have available here if you want to take a look at it. We'll take action here as a city commission because the mayor will need to sign these documents, and then we'll also need to take action at the land bank on the same documents to allow the trustees to sign for those documents as well. Jack, you have anything to add?
I don't necessarily know, but if you have any questions, there's probably, I can answer whatever. It's really just comes down to ownership. A typical case of anyone's house, you own the house, you own the structure and the ground it sets on. In this case, the builder owns the structure. Concordia Land Bank holds the actual piece of ground on it. So, these items in no way, shape, or form obligate the city or the signers or any of the municipal, the land bank, anything to financial obligation. Okay, basically this is going to say, in the event of a default, Central National Bank and the Concordia Land Bank will work in cooperation to get clear title to the parcel of ground that the house sets on. So I know it's kind of strange as far as you signing a mortgage, but again, as long as the Concordia Land Bank holds that parcel of ground, you could never actually probably technically get clear title to the structure itself.
And what happens when the home is completed and the builder has a sale, then the deed from the property goes from the land bank to the owner as part of the closing process. So then that's how that's transferred along with the home.
Yeah, the only way I would point out that to circumvent this situation, not that you have to, okay, but if the parcel of ground was deeded to the builder in upfront, then the banking and the municipal relationship would not exist. It would only be with the borrower. So I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I think there's some good things about holding on to that yourselves. It kind of, you can put their feet to the fire if there's an issue. But it does just create a little legal step here, I guess.
So when you speak of risk, then the risk is that, you know, if the loan is defaulted upon for some reason.
Right.
Or some catastrophe, that we still own the land, and then what's the risk to the city? Like, what's worst case scenario would look like? in this
Worst case
situation?
scenario, you would sign that parcel of ground over to the bank. And we would, foreclose, sell, or we would come to some kind of agreement that we sell and we recoup our back funds and the city recoups. Whatever proceeds or whatever money they have in that parcel of ground.
And part of the reason that we kept it in the land bank's ownership was to help reduce the property tax liability and to not pass that type of burden onto the homeowner. So it's an effort to drive the cost of homeownership down.
Is there any other questions? I'm more than happy to. Anything you'd like, so. Yeah, well, yeah.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the mortgage lien documents required by Central National Bank related to the construction loan obtained by Omen Custom Construction for 429 West 8th Street.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any more questions? If not, those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Move on to the manager's report.
Mayor and Commissioners, past couple of weeks, we've been working on the Brown Grand Window Project. I think I previously reported that we submitted a Heritage Trust Fund grant application. We did receive notice this week that we made the first cut, and so there will be a grant review committee held on February 6th via Zoom. So we will participate in that to orally advocate for our project. Then also we've been working on the tax credit application, and the last piece of the puzzle is to assemble all the photos in the specific format that the Kansas Historical Society wants. As soon as that's complete, then we'll go ahead and submit that application as well. And that should be completed this week. Local Government Day in Topeka is Wednesday, January 28th. So if you desire to attend that with us, please let me know. We'll get you registered. And then legislative session begins next week. So we'll probably have a little bit more activity on that front to visit about coming forward. So that's all I have for you tonight.
Staff reports.
I just have one thing. The Kansas Board of EMS, they have a granting process called craft grant. Something that services can use to offset the cost of high-end equipment that we have to purchase. Per the grant rules, there can be no contracts, approvals, anything at the time of application. Everything is done through contracts between the Board of EMS and the suppliers. And then once you're approved, then you have to get approval from you guys to do that. So at the end of April, beginning of May, I should have an action item for you guys to consider. And that's something we'll be doing through the next 4 or 5 years as we move through some equipment that needs to be replaced coming up.
I was just gonna update on the Christmas tree out here with the folks that requested, or asked for help with paying their water bills. We had 16 people request. It came up to almost $1,500 worth of bills. And about just a little under 1,200 was paid for them. We had 5 left towards the end, and an anonymous donor paid the balance. So the ones that weren't, the reason it wasn't all paid was some of them owed 2 months. And this bill, there was one bill for $180. We kind of decided some of them were scaring people a little bit. So we just used the past due amount on 5 or 6 of them, but otherwise they were paid. I guess it's successful if they were all paid. That was successful. Shows the generosity of our community.
I give a little update on 81. So I got the West Lane for today. I did the curb and gutter earlier this week, and they'll wait for that to cure And then they'll come back and do the sidewalk, on the west side. And then let that all take place, and then they'll move into the center lanes. And then we also, city crews did 150 foot of curb today also, so. On the water main break that happened, Cedar Street. We opted to take it to the alley because there was not very good curb until you got to the alley, so we went and just took care of that also.
I appreciate it. I saw it curing as I was on my way here.
Looks good. They did
Looks
really
good.
good work.
So far, it looks good. As long as nobody stays out of it, it's a part of it.
Nobody puts their little handprints in there.
Oh, we're not supposed to do that.
Anybody? If not,
Let's see.
start with Amy.
Oh, I don't have any, sorry.
I don't have anything.
I don't have anything.
Do we want executive session? For how long? 10.
I move that the city commission recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney for information deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship exception KSA 754319B2 with Amy Lang, Justin Farrell, and Brent Gehring in attendance, and to reconvene in the city commission chambers at 6:16.
Second,
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
First day there. Oh, you didn't have a case.
No action was taken. Need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Move on to the land bank meeting. Call the meeting to order.
the one item on this has to do with those same lien documents for 429 West State, so we'd ask for your approval to authorize member trustee Hutchison to sign those on behalf of the land bank members as well.
I move to authorize Steve Hutchison to sign the lien documents for 429 West 8th Street.
Second,
Any discussion? If not, those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I move to adjourn the Lime Bank meeting.
Second,
All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.